In the near future, the armed forces of Ukraine will conduct some counteroffensive operations in the south, and we will receive good news about the right bank of Kherson, for about a week. The Ukrainian troops recently received another tranche of aid from the Allies, mainly this is artillery, this is ammunition for artillery, this is new shells for HIMARS. So, naturally, all this aid poured out on the heads of the Russians and on the right bank of the Kherson region as well. That's why we've been hearing the cries of Russian propagandists, media, and collaborators lately that there is massive artillery training going on. But this is no longer a massive, but a standard approach of the Ukrainian troops to fire attacks. It is time for the enemy to come to terms with this kind of pressure. This level of attack the opponents cannot withstand, in some parts of the front are crumbling, retreating. The enemy covers all its waste media to hide or soften the next retreat of their troops. And we hear and see the movement of Russians now from the right bank to the left bank. Mostly it is the withdrawal of their families by soldiers of the Russia, and those collaborators who managed to somehow prove themselves to the Russian command. They call it a process of taking care of the local population, taking them from the right bank to the left. At the same time the enemy has a lot of trouble in the occupied territory. Winter is coming soon, and the lack of normal winter uniforms is not the only problem the Russian army will face in Ukraine. The main problem is logistics. The fact is that the Russian army is tied to the railroads. Some units that could move by land, by roads, in winter they will move only by rail. But the Ukrainian artillery now controls the railroad, destroying bridges, supply chains. Russian recruits are unlikely to turn into experienced fighters during this time. It takes a year or two to get that kind of experience. Takes a year or two. That's a minimum, if we're talking about infantry only. So to say that the mobilized will get any experience to perform tasks is impossible. Ukrainian soldiers have been fighting for 9 years. Their assault groups are already a different level. Russian recruits are mostly engaged in small arms training. At most they will learn how to hold a submachine gun, but before close combat they still need to survive Ukrainian artillery and high-precision missile strikes. As they say in Ukraine to the occupants, health of the deceased.